All right, welcome to Module 2, the only 3 reasons why you vape. In this module, I'm going to introduce my framework, teaching you about the only 3 reasons why anybody vapes, and then throughout the rest of the program, we're going to check each of those reasons off so you can end this program a happy non-vaper. The reason why you haven't been able to quit vaping until now is not because there's something wrong with you or because you have an addictive personality or anything like that. It's just that you don't have the right knowledge. Vaping is a symptom, not a problem. As you will learn in this program, vaping is a behavior or an action that you take. Behaviors and actions are not problems, they are symptoms. A symptom is a physical or mental feature which is regarded as indicating a condition of disease. Okay, so pretty much a symptom is an indicator, right? It's not the actual issue. When we look at our symptoms as if they are the problems themselves, we're unable to solve for the real problem that's causing them. This is exactly why vaping has been so hard for you to quit. You're trying to cure for a symptom. So if this is true that vaping and addiction are symptoms, then what's the actual problem that's creating the issue to begin with? I want to start off by asking you a question. Why do you vape? In my near decade of struggling with nicotine addiction and all of the worries and pains and fears that came with it, never, not even one time, did I ask myself this question. It might sound a little basic, and honestly, it is. But before we try to quit vaping again, it's a really good idea to figure out why you started vaping to begin with. Without understanding why you do something, it's nearly impossible to stop doing it with any lasting success. When I finally sat down, I was resistant to answer this question. I think that part of me didn't really want to find the answer. But I was desperate, and as uncomfortable as it was to look at my reasons for vaping with honesty, I was willing to do anything to get my life back. So, I sat down, I grabbed a piece of blank computer paper, and I wrote, "Why do I vape in the first place?" at the top. What happened next was actually kind of remarkable. I spent about 20 minutes writing and brainstorming and was absolutely shocked to find that most of my answers were just kind of bullshit. I even tried getting creative. I wanted to find just one valid reason for why I was using this nicotine stick so I could justify the addiction. When I looked at my list, I had written down things like this. I vape because it helps me with anxiety. Vaping helps me deal with stress. I vape because I enjoy it. Vaping helps me focus. I will gain weight if I don't vape. Vaping is safer than cigarettes. Vaping helps me when I'm bored. Vaping makes parties a lot more fun. Vaping helps me relax when I'm stressed out, and it's just something I really like to do. If you have thoughts like this, I really encourage that you sit down with them and ask yourself why you believe things like this and try to find proof for them. In a later chapter, we're going to come back to this list, but for now, just be mindful that it's very important for you to start to identify the thoughts and the beliefs that you have about vaping that are creating you to want to use it in your life, okay? So I recommend that you stop and actually make a list like this and just take 5 to 15 minutes to brainstorm the reasons why you vape. Don't censor yourself. Don't correct yourself. Just write down whatever comes to mind without judgment, okay? It's important exercise to get going. In the next slide, you're going to learn about the 3 reasons why anybody vapes, but for right now, just be mindful that this is reason number 2, your thoughts and beliefs. And we're going to talk about that a lot more in Module 5, but just be mindful that your thoughts supporting nicotine are the second reason why you and anybody vapes. All right, so there's only 3 reasons why you vape and why anybody else in the world vapes. The first reason is because you're addicted to nicotine, okay? This is kind of the white elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. But nicotine, as you will learn in this program, is very addictive. We'll talk about why later, but be mindful that one of the reasons why you vape is because of nicotine addiction, okay? The second reason why you vape is because you think like somebody who vapes. Remember the exercise from the last slide. That means that you have thoughts and beliefs about nicotine that make you want to do it. People who think like a vapor, vape. People who do not think like a vapor do not vape. The third reason why you are using nicotine is because you are using it to avoid your emotions, okay? Nobody is teaching us how to feel our emotions in this society. It's a very important skill set. And in addition, we are surrounded by things like nicotine that can be used to avoid our emotions or discomforts. So reason 1 is nicotine addiction. Reason 2 is your thoughts and beliefs surrounding vaping. And reason 3 is that you're using nicotine to avoid emotions that are uncomfortable. And something important to note here is that nicotine addiction, reason 1, is one of the reasons why you continue to vape, but it's not what got you started. Okay? Reasons 2 and 3, your thoughts and the way you're responding to your emotions are what got you started to vape in the first place, okay? So although you're going to learn about nicotine addiction, which is the physical chemical addiction in this program, that is looking at the symptom. Remember that your results, addiction is a symptom. So in order to fix results, we have to fix for the actual problem, which is your thoughts and your emotions, otherwise known as the mental emotional addiction. So nicotine addiction is one of the reasons why you continue to vape, but your thoughts and your emotions are what led you to vaping in the first place, and they're also now combined with nicotine addiction, creating a problem that you can't solve unless you change your thoughts and learn how to respond to your emotions. So as we've already talked about, the first reason why you vape is because of nicotine addiction. Remember, this is the physical and chemical addiction to nicotine, okay? Addiction is a result produced by your actions. Actions and results are symptoms. Remember, they're symptoms, not problems. That means that addiction itself is a symptom, okay? You're going to learn more about nicotine addiction in Module 4, but just for now, be mindful that the addiction itself, the chemical, physical addiction to nicotine, is going to be the symptom. So we are going to learn how to deal with that, but that's not the main issue. Reason 2 why you vape is that you believe optional thoughts that make you want, crave, and desire nicotine. The simple truth is that if you vape, it's because you have thoughts and beliefs that support vaping. If you want some examples of what those are, all you have to do is ask yourself why I vape, like we did before, or you can just look at my personal examples from the slides before. Okay, I get it. You're probably thinking, well, duh, of course I have thoughts support vaping. That's why I do it. But here's the twist. You vape because you have thoughts that make you want to vape, and those thoughts are completely optional. That means if you choose to intentionally change your thoughts and beliefs about vaping, this is called metacognition, you'll learn this throughout this program, you won't want to do it anymore. Now that you understand that your thoughts are what's responsible for making you want to vape, we can look at how a vape craving works. A vape craving starts with a trigger. A trigger is an external thing that happens outside of us. And after that, we have a thought about a trigger that makes us want to vape. So this thought creates a craving, an urge, an emotion, the desire to want to vape. From that emotion or urge, which is a vibration in your body, the emotion drives you to actually vape. And then from vaping, you reinforce this whole cycle. So let's look at it again. External trigger. You have a thought about that external trigger. This is an optional thought, but it doesn't feel optional when we're not aware of it. That thought creates an emotion in our body. Cravings, urges, emotion, those are all the same thing. They're vibrations in your body. The craving or the emotion drives you to vape, and then the cycle is reinforced. All right, now we're going to look at an actual example so you can get some good understanding of how this goes, okay? So the trigger in this situation is that you see somebody else vaping in the parking lot. When you see somebody else vaping, you have a thought in your mind that comes into your mind. This is an optional thought, but if you're not aware of this thought, it won't be optional, okay? So you have a thought, it's something like this. That looks really good. When you have that thought, that actually creates an emotion in your body, a craving to want to vape. From that craving, you respond by taking your vape out and hitting it. And then you reinforce the thought that created the craving to begin with. I reinforce that vaping is really good. Okay, so I have a thought about something external, and that thought is what creates this entire trigger, and that thought is what's creating the entire addiction over and over and over again. This is going all day long. You're having external triggers, and then you're having a thought in your mind that makes you want to vape, and you're responding to those over and over and over all day long. Most likely you're completely unaware of this, and that's okay. We're going to work on that. And then it creates a reinforcing pattern of wanting to vape. So that's how a craving works. It's pretty simple. The way that we fix cravings is learning how to change a thought so that you don't have such a strong desire to use nicotine. Or you can learn how to sit with an uncomfortable vibration like a craving in your body without responding to it, okay? In modules 5 and 6, we're going to learn both of those skill sets so that you can totally master your cravings and just be done with them for good. And then you will also be severely reducing your actual desire to vape by managing the thoughts in your head. All right, now I also think it's important to show you this. Look how fun. I have a laser pointer. The result that you have in your life, the result that happens is always going to create evidence for the thought that created the result. That means that your thoughts are self-fulfilling prophecies. If I choose to believe that vaping looks really good, I'm going to act in a way that proves this thought, okay? So again, there's two ways to manage a craving. You can either sit with the uncomfortable vibration in your body. That's called allowing a craving. That's a skill set you practice. Or you can just change the thought that created it. One option is not necessarily better than the other in the moment. I want you to learn both of these skill sets so that you can master your cravings, okay? I'll see you in the next slide. The third and final reason why you vape is an emotional reason. You're using nicotine to change how you feel emotionally. Emotions are just vibrations in your body caused by your thoughts. Emotions are also called feelings, cravings, urges, or desire. Your thoughts create your emotions. Again, it's important to understand that. Addiction is an emotional problem at its core. We're not taught how to feel our emotions in this society, but our society gives us a ton of ways to learn how to numb them. And finally, the reason why anybody does or wants anything is to change how they feel emotionally. So let's look at this concept in the next slide. So remember that the reason you do or don't do or want anything in your life is because of the emotion you think that that experience will give you. Here's an example. Why do you want a really nice house? And you can even pause the slide here and think about it, or you can just go with my examples. You want to feel emotions like pride, success, worthiness, importance, freedom. And or you want to avoid emotions like rejection, shame, disappointment, guilt, and fear. The reason you want a nice house is emotional. Example 2 is, why do you want an attractive and intelligent partner? You want to feel emotions like love, success, fulfillment, pride, and you want to avoid emotions like failure, rejection, loneliness, or unworthiness. The reason you want an amazing partner is to feel emotions. Example 3 is one I completely relate to. Why do I want to make passive income? The reason why I want to make passive income is because I want to feel emotions like freedom, success, peace is a big one, and abundance. And I want to avoid emotions like overwhelm, restriction, sadness, frustration, and dread of going to a job that I don't like. The reason why anybody wants passive income is because of their emotions they think passive income will bring. And this is one that you can absolutely relate to. Why do you want to quit vaping? You want to feel emotions like freedom, peace, self-love, and security, and you want to stop feeling emotions like anxiety, fear, overwhelm, guilt, and powerlessness. All right, so let's recap. You vape for 3 reasons. Reason 1 is nicotine addiction. Remember that nicotine addiction is the chemical and physical withdrawal, and that is a symptom, okay? You did not begin vaping because of nicotine addiction, and if you only focus on the addictive nicotine to quit, you're not going to be successful because that is a symptom. Reason 2 is that you think like somebody who vapes, and reason 3 is that you're using nicotine to avoid your emotions or change how you feel emotionally. So in order to quit vaping, I'm going to educate you on nicotine addiction to show you that that is something you can absolutely get through without an issue. And then I'm also going to teach you how to manage your thoughts around vaping and learn how to process your emotions without needing nicotine. That is the permanent solution. This will work for you. This is the root problem to a weed that keeps growing up, and it will be solved with these tools. Remember that nicotine addiction is a chemical, physical addiction, and the thoughts and the emotional are the mental, emotional addiction. That is the bigger monster. The small monster is nicotine addiction, which is absolutely something you can get through. In the next video, I'm going to educate you on dopamine, nicotine, and how your brain works so that you are armed with more than enough understanding of your brain to use the skill set I'm going to teach you to overcome addiction for good. I'll see you in the next module.